Not all logos need color, but when they do need color, it could be a huge part of crafting a logo's feeling, mood, vibe, and tone. You might already be familiar with the color wheel, an organization of color hues in a circular format. Certain colors exude certain emotions in the right situations. I put together a common feelings, emotions, and terms commonly associated with various colors around the color wheel. Now let's first review the warm colors like reds, orange, and yellows. Red. Popular uses of red in logo design are social media companies, and you see it a lot in the food industry. They can grab one's attention and cause a sense of alertness, exactly what a fast food restaurant wants to go for, to get your attention when driving down the road. Next time you go to a grocery store, take a look at the packaged food products aisle. Red will be your most commonly used color. As we move along the color wheel, we get to orange. And orange keeps some of the enthusiasm and excitement of red, but it also starts to combine the energy of yellow. And you'll continue to see orange commonly used in beverage drinks and the food industry. As we move firmly into yellow, yellow's energy is undeniable, but can also be one of its biggest weaknesses. Alongside pink, yellow is one of the least used color for logos and brands. It's powerful and can be overused easily. It could be a great complement color alongside other colors. For example, the Google logo, which uses yellow, but not as the single primary color. This does not mean you avoid yellow entirely when crafting your logo design palette, but it should be used cautiously, as yellow tends to be hard to print and read if used improperly. There is a reason why green is the color choice of many cleaning industries. Green equals clean, but it also equals nature. Green can also be used heavily by the financial industry to display a sense of wealth, but also success, as green is commonly used to show profits and growth. As you can see, green can mean many things: cleanliness, natural, organic, and success. There's no wonder that alongside blue, green is one of the most commonly used color palette choices used by major brands. Cyan. A unique color, not as commonly used as some of the others like green and blue, but it combines green's organic clean feeling and blue's calmness to create its own unique blend of the two. You may commonly see biotech startups use cyan. Blue is the most commonly used color for brands worldwide, and there's many reasons why, because it evokes emotions like stability and calmness. Banks love to use the color blue for that reason, especially with banks losing trust since the 2008 recession. You also see it used by industrials and those in the manufacturing industry. The healthcare industry loves purple. It mixes a bit of the stability and calmness of blue, yet it starts to take on a bit of warmth and vibrant tones, giving it a little kick. Purple is commonly associated with royalty and sophistication. It's also commonly used in the hospitality industry for that very reason. As we start to move along the color wheel back around to the energetic, powerful, warm colors, we start to adapt a sense of passion and love. Pink is a tough color to use because of its strong association with it being a woman's color. But I think pink hues have a chance to really shine as that mindset starts to shift in the future. When creating this color wheel graphic, I started to really see the connections all these colors start to make. In basic color theory, the color and the color that's the exact opposite color on the other side of the wheel is called a complement color. And these color combinations seem to work well together because of this association. And they also have the most contrast of all the color combinations because they're on the opposite of each other, which helps. For example, yellow and purple are opposites on the color wheel, thus complementary colors. But I also noticed when it comes to color psychology that they're also both the least used colors in logo design. Analogous colors are those on the color wheel that are next to each other, and they have the most sense of harmony as they do not jump wide distances in the color wheel, having a lower contrast and having less conflicting color palettes. I found it very interesting that analogous colors make great logo combinations because of this sense of harmony. It was also interesting to note that the color blue was associated with a reduction in appetite, and I don't think that's by accident, as the food industry gravitates more toward the warmer reds and oranges. It is fascinating that the colors used by top social media websites were either blue or red, with other colors being used a lot less. The fact that blue and red are polar opposites in terms of being on the color wheel and color psychology, it was telling that social media companies wanted to evoke strength or calmness depending on what the platform was. Not all logos use just one color. Companies and logos can evoke several different emotions around this color wheel by combining colors to create a logo color combo or color palette. Some logos have one primary color, but this can also exist by using several chosen secondary colors, so it can adapt to many different situations. This color wheel graphic is available as a downloadable resource in this class if you really wanted to take the time and study it in more detail. Finally, another great resource that's available online to you is color.adobe.com. This is a great resource for finding and applying color harmony rule to the color wheel. The color harmony rule are the various rules and color combos like triad, complementary, and analogous colors. I also have a downloadable resource that goes over the basic color harmonies as well as a few popular color trends. Now that we talked a bit about the emotions of color and the psychology, and a little bit about basic color combinations, let's talk more about how to use color effectively in logo design. Logo designs, as we mentioned in an earlier lesson, should never be totally dependent on color. Color can help bring it to life, but it should also be able to stand alone and just plain black and white if required. So knowing this rule, when we do use color, it should be done with intention. You never want to overwhelm a logo with color, and sometimes just small important elements can be highlighted with color. Sometimes having the company name or logo type be a neutral gray or black color can help a logo mark with color really stand out, but not overwhelm the entire logo. You need to be aware of what background the logo will be placed on. The most common background color used is white. If your logo uses a bright color that has a low contrast with white, it might not show up very well. If you have a logo on a dark background and you use a darker color, that contrast may not be big enough for the logo to be readable as well. That is why it's nice to develop a logo that can work in just black and white, but also if you use color, it works well on both lighter and darker backgrounds. When I develop a logo, I place it on both to see how the color palette is working out, and there are times when I have to tweak the shade of the color used for it to work on a darker or lighter background. Developing a logo color palette can take some time, and we'll get a chance to use mood boards and other methods of finding the right color choices for our logo in the project-based portion of this class. Now that we established some great logo design theory, we've studied color, anatomy, styles, categories of logos, let's begin by creating our first project together. I'll see you there.